Hi and welcome to another Grumpy TV licensing video. So I think by now it almost goes without saying that today's TV licence offering was inspired by an article that popped up in my newsfeed recently. I will link it below if I remember. But this one was interesting to me because it suggested that TVL/Capita salespeople are disproportionately targeting women to sell to and data mine for conviction information on the doorsteps. So for anybody who didn't know, if a property is unlicensed, a rapid response team of eager sales goons will be dispatched as a matter of urgency to question people in their own homes and convince them to believe that they need a television licence whether or not they do. The purpose of this is to obtain their magic 28 figure, at which point a commission scheme for bonus payments kicks in. How this works is by salespeople bothering people on their doorsteps if they have the misfortune to answer the door, and trying to get them to admit to watching live television or catch up TV via the iPlayer app. If they do, boom, job done, sign here, see you in court, and don't forget you have to buy a TV licence immediately. It's not as bad as it sounds though, because you are allowed to pay in buttons if you want. But let's go into a bit more detail about people who aren't watching live television or catch up TV via the iPlayer app. Because nobody's watching via the iPlayer app, because the iPlayer app doesn't work. But I'm digressing. If you're not watching television illegally, it's not in their interests to simply accept that. The magic 28 won't kick in if they just take your word for it. So if they can convince you that you're doing something wrong, even if you're not, then they can fill in their little conviction forms and get you to purchase a licence in order to not watch television. In many of the articles that I've read since becoming interested in this subject, basically since I became legally licence free, and then discovered just how much TVL/Capita don't like people who legitimately opt out, one thing has been mentioned over and over again. That women typically make up the majority of those convicted of licence fee evasion. The figure generally fluctuates around the 2/3 mark. So what's going on? Are all those women rebellious mavericks refusing to bow down to the man? Are men more likely to be law-abiding good boys who pay for a TV licence regardless of whether they need one? Are Capita all misogynistic fiends who are unfairly targeting women? Well, I don't know. I think it's easy to say yeah, they'd much prefer a woman to answer the door because they think she'll be a soft touch. But is it really that simple? If a Capita goon calls round to an address and peeps through the curtains to see if anybody's home, and he only spots Big Bert sitting on the sofa in his underpants swigging a can of Stella and scratching his arse, will he or she think, nah, forget that, and turn tail and look for a house with a lone woman inside? Or will he or she knock on the door anyway, deciding that Bert's money is as good as anybody else's? I know which scenario I'm imagining, although in mine Bert did put on some trousers when he went to court. But I don't think that when visiting houses, the enforcement officers, as they like to call themselves, exclusively target women. I'd suggest that they visit at times when women are more likely to be at home, if anybody is at home at all. Although Capita goons can call around at any time of the day or night, as they are so fond of telling people in their love letters and on their adverts, I think that the majority of their visits are conducted during normal working hours, where there is probably a higher likelihood of finding a woman at home. And yeah, they might like that and think, oh, it's easier, but if anything I'd imagine it's a happy coincidence rather than a specific goal. I doubt they're in the hedges staking out the unlicensed house, waiting until hubby leaves before they pounce on their prey. But then again, who knows? Maybe I'm giving them too much credit there. But this does bring me to something interesting that I noticed in my analytics, that despite mostly uploading the type of videos that tend to be viewed more by women than men, the fact that my TV licensing rants have arced my viewer demographics in the opposite direction. So, whilst most people uploading videos about books tend to have a primarily young female viewership, mine is actually older males. And that interested me because, given the conviction statistics, it seems that more women than men need to know about how to be legally licence free, but it seems they're also less likely to be watching. Maybe they're all too busy frantically cutting off shirt buttons. Oh well, till next time, stay grumpy and stay legal, whichever side of the fence you sit on.